Welcome to Beauties and Beasties, the independent pest podcast for the UK.
Nope. Hello.
Spoiler alert.
How
are we all doing?
All right. Who's about today? Who's first? Let's. Oh, got you in there.
No one said hello.
I
Hey,
said hello.
hello.
No, in the comments.
I can see him.
Loads of
charging
people
in.
have said hello, man. Loads of people have said hello. We've got like
Good evening,
we've
Wayne.
got Wayne,
John, Martin, Andy,
Eddie.
Sharon, Nay. Oh, where's Sean? You've disappeared. Where have you gone? You're back again. Sharon, everybody.
Everybody's come to say hello. And Rupert. Yeah. Sean's giving us all tremendous anxiety right now by looking confused, disappearing, coming back, saying he can't see.
I don't know if you can hear us, but I'm absolutely like my videos 3 minutes later. I can't see any of the comments. I don't know what's going on.
Oh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another streamlined, effective, and efficient podcast from the Beauties and Beasties team. We aim to serve and to be a true reflection of the clusterfuck that the pest management industry is. Can
you actually hear us? Or is there a massive 3-minute delay?
I can hear you. I'm just conscious that I'm probably miles off on you, am I?
No, not really.
No, you run with it. I'm going to shut this down and reboot the computer because this is definitely not going to work for me. I'll jump. Oh, I might not be able to get back in. You might have to send us a link. Leave it with me. God bless. Bye.
Well,
Sean, you're still there.
Sean deals with these
have you ever been on the
issues.
Always happens when Sean's on the phone. He's like, God bless, bye. It's like,
yeah. I have to say, yeah, like when he hangs up, like when you end the conversation, you get about an 1/8 of a second to realise the conversation's over, don't you?
Yeah, it's not like most people are like, bye bye, bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, okay, bye, bye. Sean's like, okay, God bless, bye. Okay.
just got to get the last word in. That's all it is.
Oh,
but I tell you what. While we wait for Sean to get back on, shall we start? We've got a couple of reels and a couple of videos that would be quite nice to run now, and then we'll catch up with Sean when he gets back. So whilst Hugh gets ready to cue these up, of course, I'm sure as you were as of last week, we mentioned on the podcast last week, and I'm sure many of you saw the passing of Ollie Madge, but we had an opportunity to reach out to some folks that he had interacted with over the years and left a lasting impression, and we're very lucky that people were able to, on a relatively short turnaround, send us some videos of them basically sharing some of their experiences with Ollie. So with that, without further ado, we're just going to play a couple of short videos for you, just outlining the life and soul and times of Mr. Oliver Madge. So Hugh,
here we go.
If you'd be so kind.
Hi, Rob Moon here in France. Terrible shame about Ollie Madge. He was a good friend. I've known him since the 1990s, beginning of 1990s, when I was selling mobile phones with his brother down in Wapping. Ollie got into pest control at the age of about 5. He had a cat when he was living in Wales with his 4 siblings and his mother. And his mother called a pest control company because the cat had fleas, and the pest controller who came stayed for the next 10 years. Unfortunately, the pest controller had a car accident and died, but Ollie's mum and Ollie continued the business. Ollie was doing pest control in his school work, his school days. His brother was doing pest control coming home from college, and continued the business for another 10 years after that. Ollie had a bit of a hiatus. He went off to Australia to do scuba diving instructing, and then came back and bought a house to do up in Northern Ireland. Came back, worked with me as a private investigator, and he's done lots of things, but his heart, I guess, was always in pest control. In 2010, when I was already living in France, I had rats in the house and hornets in the house, and I phoned him up and said, how do I get rid of them? And he said, well, be a pest controller and do it yourself. Well, okay, I can do that. So he mentored me for the next few years, and then with the oncoming of Asian hornets, I was giving him advice. I also gave him advice with regard to pine professional caterpillars for the military in Cyprus. And yeah, we've been good friends for years. He came over to see us last year and he was absolutely fine. And then he went off to South Africa to see his wife's family. And he had a stomachache and diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And in less than a year, here we are talking about him. He wanted to make pest control a better industry than it was in the 90s. He's touched loads of people with his kindness. He's willing to talk or willing to listen. He's never raised his voice, although he didn't take fools kindly. Some would call him a Marmite Madge. You either love him or hate him. He's upset a few people in the industry, but he's done a lot of good for the industry. He's changed the industry, he's made it a better industry, and for the last 35 years been a good friend of mine. So we'll miss you dearly, Ollie, and here's to the next. Miss you dearly. Bye.
On behalf of the MPTA, we wish to express our sincere condolences to the family, friends, colleagues, and also everybody who had the pleasure of knowing Oliver Madge throughout his life. It was with real sadness that we learnt of the passing of Oliver during a recent on-the-road day in Reigate, where many in attendance were just in shock at the news as it slowly started to come through. Oliver was a real stalwart of the industry, and throughout many of the roles that he held. In particular, the MPTA recognised him as the CEO of the BPCA for a number of years, where many of the older board members of the MPTA remember him fondly from his time in that role, to times where he was present at a number of the MPTA on the road days, where he was recognised as a very commanding speaker who captured the imagination of the audience. Ollie will be truly missed by the industry. Rest in peace, Ollie.
I was really saddened to hear about the untimely passing away of Oliver Madge. We'd worked together for maybe 10 years, starting with cilantro field trials, and then he became one of the first ambassadors for cilantro. We've made numerous videos together, been involved in pest control training. He's been on the stand. We've been involved in other projects both in the UK and abroad. In all of this time, he was always keen to help and share all the knowledge and expertise, experience that he'd gathered over his career to help move the project forward. He was always on a personal level, kind, funny, dedicated, and a true gentleman and a scholar. He will be missed by the industry, definitely be missed by me. So RIP Ollie Madge, and deepest sympathies to all your family and friends.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike Willicott. I first met Ollie Madge in the early 2000s when I was doing my training and exam in Derby. Ollie saw I was having problems with some of the more technical issues and put time aside after each session to help me through. I later passed the level 2, which without any doubt I wouldn't have done without Ollie's help. Ollie was an absolute professional and an absolute gentleman. The pest control business will be sorely missing one of the biggest names in the UK. Deepest condolences to Lara and family. Thank you.
Well, thank you to everyone who contributed to that, and thank you very much to Hugh for putting it together. We have a couple more. I'd like to say something, but also we had one come in from Lawrence Barnard, who also worked quite closely with Ollie. So let me just play that for you now, and then if you don't mind, I'll have a couple of words.
Hi, Lawrence here. I guess just a few sort of words about Mr. Madge. I've personally had the luxury of working with him over the past sort of 3 years quite closely during my time at BSF. Ollie was very much involved in supporting BSF over the past few years, and certainly with the launch of Cilantro onwards, he was instrumental in, to be honest. So before then, I didn't have, I spoke to Ollie a lot and saw him a lot of events, etc., but didn't have that sort of regular sort of time with Ollie. But certainly over the past 3 years, I've learned a lot and benefited a lot from being in his presence. He had a very infectious passion for the industry, and certainly we shared the same sort of views and ideals on the industry, where it was going, and certainly had a personal impact on me. If anyone was lucky enough to see Oliver train, so be trained by him or see him at the various sort of industry events, he had a really unique sort of style of delivery. He was a great speaker. He had a lot of engagement involved, had a lot of interaction, and certainly asked questions, and made his talks particularly interesting, even if it was on a particularly dull subject. For me personally, that's something that steered how I sort of wanted to sort of start doing speaking events and talks and stuff across the industry. So he certainly inspired me from that point of view. On a personal level, I'm quite disappointed with him because I've spoken to him a lot over the past few years, and certainly the past year, he hasn't been well. He has been undergoing treatment and didn't sort of let on as to the situation. So very surprised and shocked to hear of his passing, and very upset. So, like I say, genuine gent, he will be sorely missed, and our sort of love goes out to friends and family that are impacted. Thank you.
Yes, so there we go. A little bit from Lawrence as well, and yes, I can understand Lawrence's frustration there, because Ollie played this so close to his chest. Not many people knew that he was unwell, which is why I think it's come as such a shock. BPCA also sends out its regards and wishes. As we've all mentioned, he is or was CEO of the BPCA for some time, where he was a visionary, had thoughts on training and CPD that now we all know and largely embrace, but well before their time. So really was a trendsetter for these things. Additionally, on a personal level, I met when I started my consultancy back in 2020, met him as so many did on one of the on the road days, stopped for a drink afterwards, and found that we shared a tremendous amount in common. And literally 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that meeting, and talking to him and realizing that he lived quite literally just down the road from me, we'd started a company together. We'd started a company with the sole intent to bring training up, to bring it to a level that we feel it all should be. And for 4 years after that, spoke to him almost every week. Spent a tremendous amount of time meeting him and his family and his pups. And so I will miss him. He will leave a big hole for me, especially. Everyone else who also is wanting to make their well wishes or wanting to make their feelings known, there's two ways that we can do this. At Pest Tech, I'll be bringing a book of condolences for everyone to be able to sign or put a message in for Ollie's remaining family. And I will take that back to Lara over the next couple of weeks. For those who want to express their thoughts in person, Ollie's funeral is going to be close family and friends of the family only, but the day after that, which is the 7th of November, there is a Thanksgiving and celebration being held in Andover. So anyone who wants further details to that, just check my LinkedIn or Facebook page and see all of the details that you'll need to come down and either express your condolences in person or send flowers to the family if you so wish. So there we go. Thank you very much for this, ladies and gentlemen. I know many of you will have never met Ollie, but he was a big part of the lives of everyone who we did meet. So thank you.
Cool. Okay, dokes. And on with the rest of the news, as it were. So, yes.
Indeed.
Do you want to update us on? Do you want to do BPCA first or MPTA first? Which would you like to do?
Let's go NPTA first, because I'll need to find my notes, and I assume that you've got yours immediately to hand.
Got some association news to begin with. So, been a bit of a month for the MPTA. We've had 2 buses coming along, as it were. You never know what, one never comes along and then 2 at once. We've had 2 large members join, which is Nurture and City FM. So that's bolstered the membership a little bit. We've seen the Career Hub come together, which is a partnership with the RSPH. So we're building a career hub with them to raise awareness of the industry. And there are a few organisations involved: BASF, Syngenta, Killgerm, Loddy, as long as quite a few others. They're based around set up a recruitment pathway, specifically also for ex-military personnel, so that they've got a definite pathway through. There's going to be a stand at Pest Tech about that, with the Career Transition Partnership and the DWP of all people. But what we're actually doing is we're asking any members that fancy it, if they want to do a little video of themselves at work each day, fire it over to me if you could, and so that we can put a little bit on the website of actual people working, so they've got an idea of what pest controllers actually do on a day-to-day basis. But obviously, one of the biggest bits of news is that Pest Tech's coming up. We've got less than 7 days to go. We've got over 80 stands. We've got CPD points there. There's free car parking. There's a cafe, which everybody can have a free cup of coffee. Beauties and Beasties, and I think have sponsored. We've sponsored it, and I think Alex has sponsored it as well through Wade Environmental, and Sean sponsored it with Pest Software. So you can have a free cup of coffee. Thanks to everybody that's bought a T-shirt. Thanks to Clive for sponsoring a couple of our episodes. So we've managed to put that money back into doing something that's good, and it's to bolster the awareness of mental health with Anna Mullins and Pest Minds. So have a cup of coffee, have a chat, and enjoy the day at Pest Tech. The other thing is we are going and looking at the trust mark. So we're going to be sending out a questionnaire and final consultation to the members to see whether the members would be interested in MPTA being having a trust mark as well, so all the members can have it and display the logo. So that's something else that will happen. There'll be a stand at Pest Tech. If you're not sure whether you want to go down that route or no, go over, have a chat, and yeah. So biggest news really is Pest Tech coming up, and I know Alex and Sean will be there, and we've got a live seminar with Alex and Sean, so go along to that. Thankfully I can't make it, so nobody can see me and have me boring them to death. But it will be down to Alex and Sean to let you know what makes a good guest at Pest Tech, what the good guests that we've had and what's been good about them, and how you can stay connected with the industry. So over to Alex to do his BPCA section.
Aha! Thank you, Hugh. So, some big updates from the BPCA, and weirdly enough, one crossover as well. So you'll see that when you get to it. But first off, if anyone remembers, a couple of years back, BPCA did a huge, and I mean colossal, survey of the pest management industry. It had almost 800 respondents, which, to be fair, when we do these polls and the rest of it, 800 is a lot. It's a fairly impressive number. But the plan always was to repeat and to do this survey every 2 years, so we can continue to compile data and compete and keep everything current for the rest of it. So the Future of Pest Management survey is back. As I said 2 years ago, 800 pest professionals shared their insights, and this data has helped BPCA and the industry influence policy, guide research, and basically to strengthen our voice with the regulators in the UK. It only takes about 25 minutes, and all of your responses, no matter what they are, help you protect your professional toolkit. So from the products that you use to the training that you rely on. So every technician, so it's not just the business owners, it's every technician, business owner, manager who takes part, basically helps build this stronger case of evidence. And the great thing is we're bringing back the prize draw again. So if you remember last time, there was a prize draw to win a brand new iPad for thank you as taking part. So that's back again. And the survey is open until December. So just take a couple of minutes this week. Otherwise, you know, you've got to be in it to win it, so to speak. And just go to the BPCA website, or if you are more tech savvy, bpca.org.uk/future. Now, here's the bit of a crossover, because the BPCA also is sharing. They have set up a careers hub as well, and they will launch that at pestcareers.org.uk. It's a brand new online hub which does a very similar thing. It aims to show what the modern pest management really looks like, vital, rewarding, professional, open to all people, all backgrounds, with stories from technicians, business owners, and consultants. But much like Hugh said, these programs, in order to get the full traction they need your help. So if you're an MPTA member, go help Hugh out. Go give your videos, share your stories, keep your vacancies up to date. If you're a BPCA member, join the BPCA career portal, share your stories, keep your vacancies up to date. And if you want any further information, contact hello@bpca.org.uk and submit something for the hub. Next one I've included, and I've spoken to BPCA, something that comes up a lot and we talk about, but the lobbying that the trade associations do. So to give you a little bit of an insight and to pull the veil back on that, BPCA has actually done 3 key bits of lobbying on behalf of the industry here. We actually submitted evidence to the autumn budget, which is due on the 26th, specifically urging the Chancellor to take practical steps to support our sector. We've asked the Treasury to reassess the high post-Brexit fees for producing and selling biocides, and we've submitted a paper saying that it costs too much to keep products on the market, and by doing this, it is actually diminishing the number of tools that we have in the sphere. So we've petitioned the Chancellor to actually take a better look at the costs of keeping products on the market or bringing new products to the market. We've also pressed for an effective rollout of AWAT law, which is extending protection from tenants in the private sector of the Renters Bill, ensuring that pest-related hygiene hazards are properly addressed. And the last one is, following the reshuffle in September, we've now reached out to the new DEFRA Secretary of State, Emma Reynolds, and to Baroness Amon, sorry, to bring up and continue the discussions on biosecurity, animal welfare, and more importantly, we are pushing hard for tougher enforcement action against those who use glue traps illegally. And finally, if you are looking for something to read, there's a whole host of new codes of best practice, this time specifically aimed at animals that we work with. So have a look at those. These codes of best practice will help you understand how we should be using our products or using our tools, or in this case, using animals safely, humanely, and more importantly, how you can maintain that practice within the law. So with that, just go to your members portal and you should be able to download those codes of best practice for free. There we go. Those are the updates from the BPCA this month.
Can I just say something about that? If you're not a member, like, that's a bit shit, isn't it?
Well, the codes of best practice are aimed at, so BPCA members are bound by their codes of best practice, whereas if you're not a BPCA member, you're not bound by their codes of best practice. Same as if you're an MPTA member and they bring out a code of best practice, it is, you know, a requirement that the MPTA members follow that.
So
these
are just codes of practice for BPCA members?
They are, but if you want to follow them, as with all of these things, you have an act, you have a regulation, and then you have a code of best practice. If you do something and the court of law is finding itself in a grey area as to how to make a decision on the particulars of that case, it will say, have you followed an industry code of best practice in order to achieve the goals, and yet something still potentially went wrong. And if you have followed an industry code of best practice, then you will stand a much better stead within the eyes of the judicial system. Now, that being said, you can get hold of these codes of best practice if you so wish, and you can still abide by them, even if you are not a BPCA or an MPTA member. And to be fair, they are just common. They are just good practice.
So how do they get hold of them if these are going to be used in a court of law and they're only available on the members hub? How does a non-member get a hold of them? So say there's an independent
just email the technical team at the BPCA and say, can I have a copy of your code of best practice pertaining to the use of X, Y, and Z? And that'll be that. They're not a big secret. It's just because the member portal is the best place to put them for them. And that's just so how it happens to roll out. So they are there, they're available. It's just easier for BPCA members to get to them because it's part of the policies of being a trade association as you abide by the codes of those trade associations. BPCA, MPTA, even, you know, CIH or RSPH. If you're a member of those associations, you have to abide by their codes.
Here's a quick question before the next section, because I want everybody to try to answer this one, going completely off section. Everybody that's listening, give me a date when you think we will no longer be able to get standard fluorescent tubes for fly killers. Put a date that you think you won't be able to get them for. Put them in the comments as soon as you can, and we will tell you. We'll give you a bit of information in a moment. Give us a date.
Yeah.
Alex and Sean, continue, please.
That's okay. So just say, Rupert, if you do want to have a look at the code of best practice, simply ask, and you can get a copy of them. It's the same as all of the other bits and bobs there. Cool. So that's our association though up to date. So Ben West, just a quick question, maybe slightly off topic. I can't answer that right now. I don't have the thinking power. So sorry, Ben. I'll bring that up later. Yeah, that one. So
is it disappearing?
Right. Because you and Sean are clicking the buttons at the same time. That's why.
Right. Stupid question. Question is, Ben, are you a... They can't stipulate that.
No, what they probably mean is sometimes when they say BPCA member, they're taking the path of least resistance and fewer letters. They are saying, are you certified and accredited to EN 633 16163, I think it is, which is the European and UK standards for pest management. And by definition, if you are...
The question would be, though, really, is are you a member of either, Ben?
Well,
Or
I
are you just
believe with
a
MPTA,
non-member?
just a member. If you are a standard member of the MPTA, you don't have to conform to EN 16636. It's only accredited members that have to conform to that particular standard. So with that, there is some confusion, and it's unfortunate, but a lot of these tenders simply just pick what they believe to be is the shortest, easiest way to communicate that through. But
Well, they tend to just randomly pick any shit out, don't they? That they think, so, oh, that looks good. I want that bit there. I'll put that in, without any true research in behind it.
Who was the tender with? Just out of interest, is that a council?
It'd either be a council or a municipal department, undoubtedly. If you find yourself doing this, there's two very simple things you can do. Number one, become an accredited member of either the BPCA or MPTA, because that shows that you have gone through an accreditation process, either audited or checked. Or two, you can independently go for your EN 16636, and you can just do it that way. And if you can prove that you are conforming to those, then do that. Just the easiest way to do it is through a trade association, because they will be able to help you through that process, fill out the forms, and get yourself all of those accreditations that you need for these larger, and it's municipal, large companies. They simply don't know what good looks like, so they rely on codes of best practice and standards such as these ones, and that's why they do that. But simply,
I've got to put my MPTA hat on quickly and say to Ben, give us a call, send us a message next week, and I'll ask. I won't get, because I haven't got the power. I will ask one of the technical team to give you a call.
Yeah, like I say, it'll be an accreditation thing, and if you can prove your accreditation, then you can still put in for the tender. It just, a lot of the times they do it because it's and it's easy. And that's it.
And to be honest, we have. I mean, I suppose I'm sounding a bit MPTA here, but we have actually had the same situation, and we've just pointed out that we are actually a member of the MPTA, and there are two associations, and they'd be like, oh, okay then. So it depends. It does depend how they might not even know. Actually, chances are they don't even know what they're asking for.
Are you accredited, or are you just a regular member?
I'm just a regular bod.
Okay.
At the moment.
At the moment.
At the moment.
So no, that's it. If you need any assistance getting your EN 6636 qualifications or accreditations, reach out to your trade associations. It's what they do. It's what they're there for at the end of the day.
That's why you pay your money.
That's why you pay your money. There we go. So let's move on to then some product news. So with that, we've got a couple of answers here. So I'm going to line you up, because I think this is going to be the first bit of our product news, and it's an update from Jasmine, isn't it? But from this, people believe that the UV ban, or the ban on fluorescent UV tubes. Terry Ashley says it comes into force in 2027. Sharon says it comes in at the end of this year, so it's purpose 27. We've got 2050. We've got 27. So give us the update.
What do you think, Sean? Give us a date, Sean.
So there's a lot of confusion over this, isn't there? I can't remember the exact date, but I think you've got about 12 years or something, haven't you, till they actually think they're going to ban it. Can't remember.
So are you going LED?
We've only got LED units out. That's all we've got. So I've never paid attention to it. So I think it's the future, and that's what we do. But I've been told that there was a big thing, wasn't there, where they were going to ban it, and they realised that they couldn't ban it because everyone was going to be a thing. So it's just a massive putback, and everyone's under the impression it's going to stop in the near future. But actually, it can go for a long, long time before it looks like they're going to get banned.
So it looks like the February 2027 ban of UV tubes will definitely not happen. The lighting industry has filed a 5-year extension request, which they're confident will be granted. As of right now, we expect fluorescent lamps to be available to purchase until 2032 and beyond. Even when the ban does come in, so even when they're banned, that is just the ban of production, not the ban of sale. The ban of sale. So they're up until that date, the production, they're going to be like banging them out, like going to be digging stuff out of the ground and making tubes, as many as possible, so you'll have a long time after that. So for those people that are panicking, thinking I've got to get LED, obviously there's benefits. You know, if they're going to buy a new fly killer, then it's something to consider. But don't panic about changing anything over yet. So you can keep on with your standard tubes and not panic. And for all the companies that are going in and telling their customers, you have to change over now because next year you won't be able to have these tubes and all of this, that's definitely not.
I know of some of the big ones who are well aware of this and are using it as a sales tactic, coming in and saying, well, that's not going to be right in a couple of years. We'll need to change that. And here's the unit. And they're absolutely being naughty and trying to shoot people in the foot with it and selling stuff. It's not incorrectly, but you know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. Everyone knows what they're up to, don't they?
Yeah, so if you are quoting against somebody, another company, and they're insisting that those fly killers are changed over and you say, no, they don't have to be, then you can be confident that you're right. So, you know, there are benefits to changing over, but it's not a mass panic right now.
Yeah, I think, as you say, Hugh, there's a benefit to changing over. There's longer lifespans. The bulbs are becoming more effective and more technically exciting day by day. So there's plenty of reasons to start to upsell and to upgrade your units. But it's not a panic. You're not going to be non-compliant in 2027 with this. As Jasper says, it's just scaremongering.
Yeah,
So,
and it's go on. Otherwise, I'll go off on a tangent. No, I won't. Go down.
I was about to say we've actually got several bits of product news updates. We've actually got some new bits and bobs as well coming, haven't we? So you've got the list there.
Yeah, I've been looking, and so Barentine have brought out a new ULV liquid called Alpha ULV, which is permethrin at 0.31% and tetramethrin at 0.12%. So that looks quite spicy, quite good. The other one that I was really interested in, Pelsis have brought out something called diavalon blocks. And Alex is going to help us out here because it's a dual formulation. It's bromadiolone and diphenocone. So, Alex, is that a case of I've killed you with one, but now I want to kill you with the other as well?
So there's a couple of thoughts as to why having two in there. So they're basically two actives, two of our multi-feeds, both at 25 ppm, so totaling up to 50 ppm entirely. And with things like the SCARs, it's what we refer to as the area under the curve, which is what's the effect of it. It's the amount, it's the volume of material within that animal rather than the peak of the volume of the animal. Three things, therefore. Number one, when we are dealing with resistant animals, there is one resistance that we know of, L120Q, in the south of England, which confers resistance to both diphenocone and bromadiolone simultaneously. There's also some hybridizations of that occurring in Kent and wherever, but that's a story for another day. The rest of it, Y139F, Y139S, and a couple of the other ones there, they confer resistance to only one of those two molecules, either diphenocone or bromadiolone. So therefore, the idea being that, you know, If they're resistant to difenicum, the bromadiolone will take on the heavy work, and they're resistant to bromadiolone, then the difenicum will take over as well. The other thing to consider is things like bromadiolone significantly more effective against Rattus norvegicus than difenicum is. You're looking at about 5 to 6 grams as opposed to 10. Flip side of that, difenicum only just misses the bracket for being a single feed for mice. It's incredibly effective. But with that, so you have 2 of the multi-feeds in the same pack. Resistance management. There's also a little bit of research out there, although I'm not entirely convinced by it, but it is there, which says that by using 2, you have the metabolites, and the interaction with the metabolites and the parent compound will actually produce potentially a synergistic effect. However, 4-hydroxycoumarin and 3-hydroxycoumarin, the downstream of that, not necessarily, there's not a huge amount of research that actually says there is any biochemical interplay between them. Simply, you just get more of the metabolites, which in themselves are mildly toxic. So potentially there is a synergism, but I would say probably the larger 3 points to having a dual active would have been those ones previously mentioned. Is that
Have you
enough for
ever
you?
used any, Sean? Have you ever used any dual action baits?
No, but I can probably answer this from a practical point of view, Terry. Terry says, for many, many years, we've always been told not to mix active ingredients in bait boxes. Now they develop a bait with 2 active ingredients. This is the old practical nature of me kicking out. That's because we've got 2 active ingredients in a box and they haven't been tested and they get kicked out. 1, you don't know, say your dog eats it, you don't know what it's eating. And 2, you don't know how those 2 things will act together. Whereas when they've put this product through, when they put the product through testing, I'll probably confirm they've tested that so they can tell you how much vitamin K to give the dog and blah 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 and all that. But I believe, someone help us out with this, I think there is already a dual action one, and I know John Sage was a massive fan of it. Is it Muscatrol or Musk or something like that? Is that not a Baratin or a Lodi product?
Oh, Muscatrol. Muscatrol is a insecticide.
Oh, what was the
Baratin? Muskil.
Muskil.
Yeah, but Sean, the thing is, we've always used 2. We've used 2 baits, different active ingredients in boxes before, because we used to use a liquid bait in one side and a grain bait in the other, which were 2 different. As long as they don't touch.
That's proper gypsy shit, that, like. That
Why
is
wouldn't
proper.
I can give you another thought on this.
I mean,
Everyone,
liquid
he was just
Saccharat.
being sacked off his CPD scheme if he's doing that. He's also the man that had a farm mix, so let's not listen to him because I've never done that.
Tell me where it says you can't put 2 different active ingredients in a box.
It does, actually.
As long as it's labelled.
Leave that with me.
I believe it does. I believe it's under the BPR guidance.
Yeah, it does.
So why did they make a liquid bait that fit in a little feeder for one side of the box and a little tray for the other side of the box? Used to do it all the time in Rent-A-Kill.
Listen, Hugh, that's like saying they put metal rods on one side and one on the other so you could mix up your blocks. That's not, it doesn't mean you have to. It just means the option was there for you.
No, you've got to make like a little kebab, haven't you? You make like a little kebab, like a shish kebab. A little bit of chicken kebab, a little bit of lamb.
Can you have a proper gypsy story about me when I first started? I promise you, right? And I'm not proud of this, but I did do it. We're on a hunt kennel, actually, and it was houching with rats. I mean, houching. These things were coursing each other around the yard when we were there. I was standing watching them chase each other and have sex and all that. It was that black with them. And I thought, this is a great opportunity for me to see which one of these baits they like. So I put a bit of everything in this box, right? I thought I'll come back and I'll test it every 24 hours to see which one goes first. I came back in 24 hours and had just eaten everything. Yeah, I didn't know any better at the time, but I learned.
The reason you probably can't do this is when we register products for the market, HSC, ECHA, EPA, whoever it is, efficacy, which is the bit that you guys are interested in more than anything else, how well to kill the rat is just one part of a 5-part study to get these products onto market. You've also got to look at things like environmental fate. You've got to have a look at things like your REACH compliance, which is how it might be able to affect you, and all of these different things. And so 2 products, although they have relatively similar formulations, might have different environmental fates. They might have different REACH requirements. And so mixing them, putting them side by side really upsets what we refer to as the risk profile of that box from a regulatory point of view. By putting them both together and putting them through the BPR as one product, suddenly all of that becomes harmonized, and the regulator is a lot more willing to actually accept that than combining. Likely is the story with this.
I have told you the Lindane top story, haven't I?
Oh, and on to the next product news.
Did I tell you about the Lindane top story?
You-
There was a technician. There was a technician called Rob Perkins, really nice guy. He was really big bloke, really nice chap, and he always used to. I said, God, I'm having a problem controlling these fleas in this house. He's like, Lindane top, mate. I'm like, what are you on about? He said, well, what I do is, he said, I mix, which was totally mental, because he'd mixed phenitrathione wettable powder with permethrin wettable powder, and then he put a slug of Lindane oil kerosene insecticide on the top. And you remember how you used to get a lemonade and lime top with a lime top? Well, he used to call it a Lindane top. I put a Lindane top on it.
Just out of interest, was he a big bloke with a beard that liked fishing?
No. He went to Rent-A-Kill Australia, actually. He moved over to Rent-A-Kill Australia for a while. Nice chap. Good bloke.
What the fuck is that?
I thought it was a cheetah.
Oh, fuck me.
But
So
anyone
the
wondering-
RSPC on Alex are absolutely taking the mick out of these dogs.
You know what it was, don't you? It was because I was trotting one of my old stories out. Alex thought he'd bring his dad's story back about his tiger again and pick up a tiger.
Make sure he hasn't got a gun. We know what happens there, dog.
Oh dear.
Got my
So there
pup.
there was another one that had a block with a like it had a bit like the Mentos.
It was Balboa.
Remember?
Balboa. It was the same active material, but it was 2 different formulation types mixed into one. So
But it was soft in the middle, wasn't it? Like
soft on the inside.
like a
an
Smartie. Like a Smartie. Like a Mento.
Let's not be drawing comparisons between poisons and children's sweets now. That is, we're losing CPD points here. Right. You.
Right.
What's our next?
What's our next product news? That's about it for actual products themselves. Actually,
I've got something to show you.
Go on then.
This is the.
Ooh.
You see that? I think that's it. Is it there yet? The Thermtech Wild 650 thermal spotter. For those who like your pigeon shooting and stuff like that, we have bought it and we're going to be giving it a run out to see what it's like. It was recommended to us by Stuart Blair, who does an awful lot of shooting, etc., etc. So I'll give you my honest feedback on it after we've had it out and give it a blast. I wanted a new one that was better than my old one, so I've put my hands in my pocket and bought it.
Wow.
Nice. Give us an update. Give us a video view in the style of Stuart, because I mean, if no one has seen, Stuart does some phenomenal videos, absolutely phenomenal. And also, to give him a little bit of a shout out, he recently had one of his articles published in, was it Airgun World, which is, apparently a big thing in the world of air gunners. So congratulations to him, and definitely for representing the UK. Yeah.
Did you see the article? It was 6 pages long. I didn't know Stuart knew that many words.
It's just the same word over and over again.
ChatGPT, wasn't it?
Must have been a lot of pictures in it. Mustn't have. Stuart wrote a 6-page article.
I've got to admit, again, this is showing my age. I can remember the first episode of Airgun World coming out.
All the way back in the 1900s.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh dear. More industry news. Have we got an industry news heading?
I think we do. Yes, we do. So product news. We've now got buyouts and mergers.
Oh, buyouts. Okay, buyouts. Well, on our buyouts front, we have one of our old guests got bought out. Mark Mosley. Pest gone. Mark Mosley has sold recently to JG. JG, I believe, being part of Virgo.
Technically, Tyro Group. So Tyro
Yeah.
Group owns Virgo, JG,
Yeah.
and
Here's the interesting
Pest.
thing, though, Al. They are billing it as being bought by JG, not by Tyro, which me and others found incredibly interesting, because if I remember rightly, JG is 100% domestic based, isn't it? And so is pretty much Mark Mosley's. So I think now they're making a whole different move within the market that nobody else is doing, which is, I guess, incredibly interesting. But I guess will be very worrying for some, in the thought that the work that you're picking up on your domestic, you might be competing against people with deep pockets on Google advertising in the very near future, which will be interesting to watch.
Interesting that they choosing to keep the smaller named companies rather than engulf it in one big name and one big company. Must be some marketing ploy behind that, I would have thought.
I think it's simpler than that. I think it's simply, a lot of these big investment groups, they themselves, who's heard of Tyro? I mean, we all have, because we are embedded in the industry. But who here has heard of the sort of like these newcomers, these sort of like groups? So what they'll do is they'll keep the local brand name because it has brand power, it has reputation, and so with that, you take that, and over the course of 1, 2, 3 years, you slowly transition from the well-known brand into the larger parent brand by steps. So you basically just absorb their reputation, but you can't just flip it over because it won't make sense. So yeah, it is a marketing thing, but it's a smart marketing thing. And for a while they'll operate as separate legal entities as well.
I was told that when you buy somewhere, you have to keep that name for a minimum of 12 months. I don't know if that's true or not. But I was also told that the reason why they keep it is because a lot of the big nationals now are actually building their websites with the intention of looking like a small local firm, because that's who people want to use. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So I think what tends to happen is they keep it for a short period of time, then it moves over. Pestikill is no longer going to be Pestikill, is it? Kept that for a while, and I think they're going to move that over to Anti-C-Max. True? Not true?
I wonder if you get a better SEO hit by having different company names. If you're a Tyro Group and you've got 20 different companies in 20 different sites over the UK, are you going to pull in more work by having those individually rather than just one massive company? All supposition, I suppose.
Why are you saying that, Terry?
Because I've fucked on everything else. For anyone watching, Terry's put a comment on saying there won't be much domestic work of the next month's budget. Like, if there isn't any business owner who isn't absolutely crapping his pants at the thought of Rachel Reeves getting her wish list, you're on the take. Because everybody I know is absolutely bricking it, aren't they?
Yeah. Because if you make money, you're a tax target at the end of the day, aren't you? You can't tax somebody that's not making money, but there you go. I didn't think the VAT was going to go up. Terry?
they're going to start VAT. They're going to start charging VAT, or allegedly they're going to start charging VAT on products that they weren't charging VAT on. There's a lot
Isn't
of
it funny?
VAT-free products are going VAT
Just
products.
if you remember when VAT, oh God, and I'm saying it again. Remember when VAT came in, it was supposed to be a valued added tax on quality products that weren't part of daily life, wasn't it?
Luxury items.
Luxury items. Since when's pest control been a luxury item? You know, it's, you know, you don't pay it on steel toe caps or safety wear. So is pest control a luxury item? I don't believe it is. Anyway, we're diversing now, aren't we? Like
they
angry
clapped
old
for us
gammon.
during COVID. They can cut our VAT, bastards.
So there's another company on the block buying people up as well, don't you know? Called Eminem. No, not him. It's not a rapper. Eminem Estates. New on the block, buying people up, apparently. Smaller companies from 500,000 to 2 million. Smaller company. Right, okay. 500,000 to 2 mil. So few people have been approached by them. So that's interesting.
Really is. It really is a very interesting, dynamic, exciting, scary, terrifying time to be in pest management at the moment. There's definitely a lot of.
They were a services group when I looked them up, a facilities services sort of styly thing, looking to get into pest control, I take it.
Yeah, as I said, there's a couple of reports that came out, maybe 10 years ago, because this is realistically when a lot of this started, or the wheels would have started rolling on it, saying that pest control or pest management is one of those industries that year on year has shown consistent and predictable growth. And it has. If you have a look at the numbers on a national broad scale, it is consistently one of the best, and that's what banks want. They want consistent, predictable increases in growth. So from their point of view,
I was going to say, this is going to give us a quick chance to say to anybody listening, if you've rolled up your company and you've packed it up and sold it on, and you feel able to come on the podcast and tell us how the process went, give us a call, send us a message. We'd love to have you on and discuss how people prepare for that process and how it went for you. If anybody's listening, that'd be great.
Can I ask an honest question out of you too, and the people who are listening to this? What would be the percentage of positive experiences you've heard of in relation to negative experiences you've heard of in having their company bought? Because off the top of my head, I can't remember anybody ever saying it was great and I loved it after I'd sold it. Nearly everybody I've spoke to has said, I lasted 12, 24, 36 months and then I hated it and I left. I don't know whether that's just because they want out and they buy tied in and they need an excuse to leave or what, but I can't remember anybody ever saying to me, best thing I've ever done that selling me pest control company.
I can think of one that might say it, but I've never really talked to him about it. But I can think of quite a few others that have said that they felt stitched up come the end when it all went through.
It depends on your reason for selling at the end of the day. I mean, those who sell and want to continue working at the company, I think there's a bit of an unrealistic expectation because you've sold, and I imagine a lot of the grievance from that comes from you've sold it, you've taken your money, the company that's bought it starts to come in with sweeping radical changes, changing this, upselling that, whatever they're doing. And of course you sit there and there's no way you can't take that personally when they come in and be like, right, tear all this down, build this up, change the sign, the liveries are changing. Things that you have had a personal and emotional investment in start to change all around you. It's going to feel shit. So I'd say a large proportion of that is if you sell and you stay with your company, you have to accept the fact that things will change. And if you want things to remain the same, then it's going to be an unrealistic expectation. Sell and leave. If you want
I
to remain
wonder-
in the industry, set up another company.
I wonder if it's the fact that if you do sell and you stay on, bearing in mind that you've probably been the organ grinder and not the monkey, you don't want to be going back to being the monkey again. And you know, it's a bit like, now I've got to get in at 9 o'clock in the morning and clock in and come out. I don't know. Never. Yeah.
So, what I'm going to ask you two to answer this one first. What are your thoughts about the ones who sell up and then restart a new company a couple of years later? Brian O'Donnell asks.
Why not?
You mean
I suppose.
screw fix to the B&Q, you know, and then
No, screw fix to tool station, wasn't it?
no, it's a B&Q bought. B&Q bought Screwfix, and then they started Tool Station or something like that.
No, the guy that built Screwfix, who's in Yeovil, sold Screwfix and then started Tool Station.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I think that's the way it was, but don't matter. But yeah,
there's another example closer to home. To be fair, yeah. I don't have an issue with that particularly. You know, if you were, there will always be sort of like caveats within your buyout that will say you have so long before you can start another company, you have so long before you can do, you know, this or that or the other. So if you operate within that time frame, then yeah, that's a bit shoddy, that's a bit shitty. But if you've got a 2-year sort of like, let's call it, it's not a non-compete, but let's call it a non-compete for the sake of ease. If you've got 2 years and then you start again, fine. That company's had 2 years to use and leverage your brand and to leverage the infrastructure that they bought from you. You know, go for it.
As long as you don't do, if anybody remembers that case where somebody left a big company and took all the information on a hard disk and took it to their
that's wrong. That's industrial espionage. That is basically
took it to their new company. Used to have big orange vans, and
I don't know who you're talking about. I genuinely don't. As soon as you said orange van, I lost that. Who has? Okay,
you remember these big orange vans that used to drive round?
Oh,
who was that? You just say it.
Not pest control vans. No, you can say it. You're not saying it then. Pardon?
Orange. Who was it? Just say it.
Well, they didn't do pest control, but they had massive orange-coloured vans.
DEP? No, you talking like the logistics company?
Somebody's
Dynarod.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Don't know.
Do you not remember Dino Kill? Ah, okay.
Not old enough.
Dynakill it was. Somebody from went to Dynakill and took all the information, and their offices got raided.
Yeah, no shit. That isn't all fair in love and war. That's that's
naughty.
That is naughty. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if that brings us at the end of our buyouts and mergers, unless anyone else has heard any more, we have our last section, which we have a couple of bits and bobs to add into, which is just any other news that we want to share with this. So I think you've got one or two action items left on this.
I've got, if anybody doesn't know, Loddy have moved premises. They've moved into a much larger warehouse. They couldn't send stuff out for a while they were changing, but they've moved into bigger premises so they can hold more stock. That's the one that I've got. Anything else? Any others? We've got Pest World coming up. Anybody going to Pest World?
Well, I'm about to say, if anyone's going to, it's the day 3's right now, so They're not going. They're there.
Oh, it's there. Oh, of course it is. Yeah, I saw the Andy Sinevsky's wife's there, isn't she?
Yes, there's a couple of our old guests that are actually bopping about there at the moment. So I can only assume that they're having some kind of alumni party, the Beauties and Beasties Brigade at Pest. We
course
should
they
have
are.
asked them to take some pictures, shouldn't we, with each other? But that'd be that. But if you are still looking to get to trade shows, of course, in 2 weeks' time we have Pest Tech. But next week, if you fancy being an international traveller, an international guest, is Parisi Tech.
International man of mystery.
No. So yes, next week is Parisi Tech. So if you fancy going to see a trade show in a different country and practicing your franglais a little bit, head over there. You know, Eurostar makes it nice and easy. But with that, I have to say I've done a lot of international trade shows in my time. They're really interesting, actually, just to see the different sort of like motivators, who pushes what. You know, I went to one in Frankfurt a little while back, and it was huge. It was more of an agricultural fair, and pest control was basically lumped in with the other biostats and disinfectants and the other bits and bobs. But you'd stand there, and of course you're sitting selling all of your bits and bobs, and there's someone across from you selling disinfectants, and then the stand next to you is selling a machine that can pluck 200 chickens off the floor a minute and then sort of like shoot them down a pneumatic tube. It was mad. It was sort of like a completely different setup. It was absolutely great. Machines, huge, great big claw machines that could pick up cartons of eggs and move them around and stack them in precision rows. We don't get that kind of thing, you know. I can imagine a Pest Tech or Pest X just having a little machine on the side for you know, auto shearing sheep like Wallace and Gromit. We don't see that, do we?
No.
No. I mean, for a while, I think some of the trade associations tried to do like a combined show with like the British Cleaning Council and some other bits, and that would have been really cool, actually, because there's definitely some in the UK, like the packaging one, which I go to because it's actually interesting for what I do. But alongside that, they have the labeling show, and then they have sort of like the graphics design show, all in the same building. And I'll never forget one year I went up there, and there was a company which was proudly selling its new labels for going on the side of like needles, you know, so needle packages. And you unpeeled this little label here, you know, and it folded out to something like origamied out to something a little bit bigger than an A4 page. So like a full-on product tub label and something you could stuck on the back of your finger.
I can't think of anything more exciting than the cardboard box show.
If it depends on the circles you operate in. If if part of your job is putting things in cardboard boxes, it's interesting.
Other news. So the leadership at Basis has changed over.
Oh yes, that is interesting. I'm hoping that we're going to see a greater involvement. They've already promised, you know, tacitly, a greater involvement and a greater sort of like what's the word I'm looking for, Hugh? Sort of.
Haven't they been promising that for like 15 years though?
Trying to be positive. Yes, they have. They've been promising a better sort of like engagement with our industry for a while. But I'm hoping with the new leadership, we might actually see that start to transpire and starts to happen and percolate through, because they really do need to sort of like up their game, because especially with next year with CPD, which to be fair, which should probably be the last thing that we speak about on this this episode tonight.
I wouldn't. You guys will end on a downer. I would definitely not leave that until last.
Okay, should we talk about it now, and then we'll
I was
find
sort of
something
trying to
else
steer
talk about just at the end.
I'll tell you what we could talk about, and just for this one episode. Oh. Yeah, get on them. Right, here we go. Oh no, hang on. I had to photograph it.
Are you going to hold the picture?
527 sightings. They found another 6 nests in the last couple of weeks.
You got it.
And we're up to
You got it.
150, 160 nests, something like that.
You stole my thunder.
Ridiculous. Still fighting the good fight. They don't think they're established, even though there was a nest in 2024 that was linked to a nest in 2023, one in 2025 that was linked to the same nest in 2024. The numbers are going through the roof. They still think they can beat this. Interestingly, what are your thoughts on this? If you look at the updates, and this is me reading between the lines, they had consistently between 10 and 12 nests were being found. It was 10 and 12 nests, 10 and 12 nests, 10 and 12 nests, 10 and 12 nests. Then a couple of weeks ago, it dropped, and all of a sudden it was 6 to 7, 6 to 7, 6 to 7. I don't think that that's seasonal. I think that's a capacity issue for the MBU. Because at the end of the message, it always has the same sign off, and it says, the MBU are following further credible sightings and expect further nests to be found, or whatever it is. I think that this is a capacity issue. And I think probably what's happened is the seasonal bee inspectors have stopped, and they're left with the regional bee inspectors, or there's people have quit, or whatever it is. I can't think of another reasonable explanation for it. And if that is the case, and they are looking at things knowing there's a backlog of them, how many of them will have kicked out queens now? And lots of queens, fucking most of them, wouldn't there?
Yeah, there's definite, you look at it's.
Yeah, that's went nuts. And here's an interesting thing, though. They've been found in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's slightly odd, isn't it? It's sort of like they're not flying over, are they? Oh. From Jersey to Northern Ireland, it's a fair old trot, isn't it? So,
are we getting data out of Southern Ireland, just out of interest, because of course they are not covered by the MBU. They are an EU country. So do we have surveillance data coming out of Southern Ireland?
Yeah, I think there was more than one nest found in Southern Ireland. I can't remember exactly where it was found, but they found one, they destroyed it, and then weeks later they found more. So they went and destroyed that. I might be wrong on that. Don't hold us to it. But it was quite interesting because they said the MBU or whoever it was in this country said, we're assisting them. And I thought, fucking hell, you've lost control in this country and you're going to tell them how you've done it. Like, fucked, aren't they? Misery loves company.
We're assisting.
Misery loves company.
Yeah, the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, I think that within the next 12 months, there will be some sort of handover to pest controllers. That's what I think is going to happen. Because you've got to remember, there's been 500 and something sightings, and there's been a lot of sightings that were never traced back to a nest. There's one up the road from me in Durham. They said it, and when I asked about it, they said, "Oh, we saw this Asian hornet. We put traps out. We never caught one, so we think it was a lone individual. But the videos of it's on a fence post sitting chewing wood. Like, it's not doing that on its own, is it?" Do you know what I mean?
But the big question is, I mean, one of the reasons that the MBU was so, and my understanding from the conversations we had in our Asian Hornet month and conversations we had around that, is they're reluctant to engage with pest management because they viewed us not necessarily as under-equipped, because obviously we are, but they saw us as too mercenary or mercantile about this. That simply it would be too expensive to elicit the use of a professional in order to control a lot of these infestations as a result of that. And so that's why they've largely swerved engaging with us, because it would break the bank. Rightly or wrongly, I was under the impression that was one of the big detractors of getting us involved. Thoughts on that?
I think it's egotistical, if I'm totally honest with you. They did a 1 day, half a day course, and then we're putting out our specialist trained officers. And I'm thinking, like, fucking ridiculous. There's a whole industry willing to help them, and they turned their back on them. I tell you now, go and give a talk to a beekeeping organisation, and they will ask you one question and only one question at the end of it. And that question is, how much are you going to charge to kill an Asian hornet nest? All they want to know is how much money you're going to make out of it. It was poorly, the apathy from them was unreal. And I think when it hits hard, when it hits them really hard, then there'll be a lot of whinging, there'll be a lot of people wanting assistance, etc., etc. And I think pest controllers are just going to deal them like wasp nest. Can you see them? Are they there? We'll come and kill them. If not, don't bother ringing us. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I think the beekeeping community has absolutely shot itself in the foot. And let's be honest, when we did them 4 episodes, there was a number of people who were absolutely petrified of telling the truth and upsetting the MBU. You know, Richard Noel wouldn't come on because he was scared of upsetting the MBU. He's in France. You know, and that they were the episodes, weren't they, when I got really upset because we'd finish the episode and they'd go, we can tell you what we really think now. Like, what? People have just been listening to what you think or should have been thinking. And there was so, and then we had Hugh getting threatened off an MBU inspector, did we not, at one point? You know, I'm going to tell my big brother on you for telling the truth, for trying to help, because they were just, I feel like they've handled it absolutely terribly and they've missed a huge opportunity, and now they're established, but they'll step back, go like that, see you later, bye, off, and then the same thing will happen. Beekeepers will learn to cope with them. Thoughts?
But the thing is, the ball will be passed to us, undoubtedly. The big question is, are we going to have any tools beyond Hoover and Cutout that we can use for 90% of these nests?
Well, the other interesting conversation about this is they say that there won't be a straight handover. So it won't be a we're done, step back, sort it out. They're going to try and maintain some sort of control and whatever it is, have like approved people or whatever it is that they will in some way, shape or form, whether they're paying them or backing them or whatever it is, there's going to be some sort of intermediate handover. I think what you'll see is they'll go from a eradication to a containment phase, where they'll say, in this area, you can ring these people or whatever it is, and pay you 100 quid a nest or whatever's going on. And then a year after that, there'll just be total loss of control. But I think we'll lose control in this country far faster than they dream. And I think you're going to see that explosion of nests in different areas. Like up north, you're going to get the odd 1 or 2, and then you're going to get thousands. That's what I think is going to happen. But let's see.
You think they're going to be able to, because already they've kind of exceeded the geographical boundary of the European hornet up north, haven't they? You think they're going to continue moving further north than that?
I spoke to Rob Moon about this, and he said he's seen them flying at 5 degrees. So if they can fly in 105 degrees, that's that. I would hope and pray for my bees' sake that they don't come. They are the same as a European hornet. From a business point of view, I don't want to miss out on that income coming in from them. So, and let's get this right. There is going to be absolute hysteria around them when they admit they've lost control. And, there's every time you see one, you're going to get 6 million phone calls, aren't you? I've seen one on the wall in my house. I need you to come and get it and all that shit. It's going to go. It's going to go off it, isn't it?
I mean, I was quite shocked because we normally sort of beginning of October, we start turning the wasp nests away. And we just say to people, give it a couple of weeks. They're all going to be dead. Don't bother. Don't. It's not worth it. Neil went and did one this week. I don't know if you saw the video on our Facebook page. It was heaving, man. It was really going for it. And, considering that it's middle to end of October, nearly the beginning of November, that nest was absolutely going for it. And there are still nests out there going for it. And I know people that are still doing nests. So if the temperature, if they're flying 5 degrees, they're going to be going on till December, aren't they? So, yeah. I think Asian hornet's nest will be in the region 250 a nest. We've got 9 minutes to go. So shall we ask anybody if they've got any questions?
Just having a look. I mean, I've just done a quick sort of like search. I just remembered as well the Pelsis haven't brought out, but I saw Sophie doing a video on it the other day. So your thoughts on it there? We've got two. I say two. There's a new range. So I think Killjump brought out one, and Pelsis have one. Modular boxes. So bait boxes that you can reconfigure the inside out of, which are the Pelsis ones, or the Killjump ones, which are boxes that you can stick together like Lego bricks to do what you want. What are your guys' thoughts on this from boots on the ground? Is this going to be something that is going to add to your toolkit, to your repertoire, give you more flexibility, or what? Thoughts?
Don't really get a lot of problem with the boxes we've got, so
I've never heard of it. I've never thought of a situation where I've thought, you know what will solve this? Even looking back now, a modular box would help. I think it'll catch a lot more pest controllers than pests. I've spoken to some lads about this modular trap-based thing that Killjump have got out, and it's not getting good feedback from the people I speak to. I'm sure there's people out there love it, but it's not. It's definitely not. It's getting as good a feedback as the ones that you've mounted on the wall with the two pipes going in. Remember them? What were they called?
Amicus.
The Amicus, yeah.
Yeah, rubbish.
Yeah, I don't really see the need for that. I mean, you've got a rat box, you've got a mouse box. Where's going to be the, you've got the duo and the quadro boxes for the mouse traps. I mean, personally, we don't really use the single mouse boxes. We use the doubles because why not? The more the merrier.
I know. My thing, to play devil's advocate, it means that you have greater flexibility with a fewer number of plastic boxes in the back of your van if you need to keep a couple behind to deal with a broad variety of situations. But I've just had a look, and one thing that I did want to talk about and ask you guys, because this is something that really interests me. So again, the BPCA does some work with some surveillance teams from the CIH and around. And beginning of the month, BPCA, Niall, because he's a nerd for bugs, issued some advice because another 2 species of disease-carrying mosquito were detected in the UK following a UK HSA report. This is happening more often, especially with sort of like insects which are potential vectors of disease. So now we have a couple of species which have the real potential to sort of like spread disease through the human population. Are you guys mentally, physically, technically equipped to start dealing with mosquitoes if these become fall into as they will, like the hornets will, as the rest of it eventually does? Mosquitoes will fall into our lap. What are your guys' thoughts on being able to deal with mosquitoes?
Not really. I haven't got the knowledge. I don't think I've got the knowledge to deal with it at that level. I'm not saying I can't learn, or work it out, but at the as it stands, I haven't used a swing fog for quite a long time.
Yeah, but would it even be swing fogs? Because this is the thing. This is the thing that worries me, is that conventional mosquito control, as you say, is to march up and down a area with either a swing fog applying a thermal, thermal fogged insecticide, or a ULV mechanically or automated, or whatever you want to do. But they're all large sort of like area denial programs. We can't do those in the UK. We have such a huge biodiversity that can you imagine walking through your little village? The HSA's turned around and said, right, we found an anopheles Stephen I mosquito biting someone in this village. There's a risk to public health because that's the one that carries malaria. We don't want to get that. So what we need to do is we need to sort of and standard progress.
Get the DDT truck out.
Yeah. It would never fly, would it? I'm really concerned for the UK actually in terms of vector management of insects, and I think it's actually something that we all need to sort of put a little bit into to start thinking of some strategies. So we have some thoughts, so we have some ideas before it happens. So forewarned is forearmed. So if anyone's got any good ideas, don't keep them to yourself. Start sharing, so we can all start building those together.
Don't they do something with the standing water to kill them? But here's a question for you, Al. What's the chance of those two mosquitoes being lone individuals? I'm guessing that's pretty small because of the size of them, the life cycle of them. I'm guessing it means that we've got established populations of them, and how quickly would they likely colonize the UK?
It's not necessarily established because some of these species are tropical species. And so let's just take, for example, some species of Aedes, yellow fever mosquitoes. Now, we do get some species of Aedes in the UK, but some of the more tropical ones, they will lay their eggs on the side of a bank, and specifically, they require those eggs to dry out in the dry season and then to rehydrate in the wet season as the water comes back up again. We don't really kind of get that ecological environmental happening. Where we do find it happening, out of the problem, you find it in water tanks. So if someone's got a water tank on their roof, or someone's got a pile of tires in a yard somewhere, they can get filled up with water in the rain. They can lay their eggs, they dry out, and then the rain will rehydrate them. So you end up getting that. But whether they survive the winter, whether they become established, whether or not they are able to sort of self-sustain within the UK's temperature.
Something to do with Wasn't it something to do with the underground, or
there was a species of mosquito found on the underground, which is specific to the underground now, which is mad. But yeah, all of these things. I mean, it's a what if and a maybe, but it's a risk on the register that we probably need to have a look.
You know what would sort them out?
If you say FICAM, I'm gonna.
No, Lindane Top.
Lindane Top.
Lindane Top, yeah, absolutely. So Sean, you say you learnt about mosquitoes in your RSPH Level 2 award in pest management. Hate to say, buddy, we all learned something about mosquitoes in our Level 2, but we did not learn enough about mosquitoes in our Level 2. You probably learnt the life cycle, and that's it. It is a very small thing. We've mentioned my father once already, but he made his fame and fortune dealing with vector management diseases out in the Midland Far East. So happy days with that. Yeah, about living in Scotland during the summer. That's midges. That's culicoides. That's a whole different. Did you know that they have been known to fully exsanguinate large mammals have culicoides coming in such numbers that they'll literally just sort of peck something to death? I mean, how terrifying is that? Death by a million tiny bites. But yeah, there we go. There we go, Terry. Yes, species of Aedes in the underground. Something like that. Can't remember the species name, but yes, it was either an Aedes or an Anophelid. Enough about that. That brings us nicely up to 1 hour 30, doesn't it? We got anything else that you'd like to add?
Anything, Sean?
No, there's a CPD thing, but to be honest, I've had enough of the whole fucking thing, so I don't want to talk. You can happily talk about it. I'm not talking about it. I've just had enough.
We need to mention it for 2 minutes, just because
if you do, I'll go off on one. So let's let them deal with it. Let them deal with it. I know I run a scheme. I don't care. I'm past caring. Let them deal with it. They can sort it. They can argue about it. I'm past caring. Promise I'm past caring.
Long story short, if you are not aware, if for whatever reason that you have not been up to date, you've been living under a rock, You need to
The
get
pest
your
control industry is going to slow down and do everything for you rather than those who have engaged with the industry for the last 3 years. That's it. Other than that, we're fine.
Get your crew CPD points in. Get them all in. Get them all in. Just do them. Do all three. They're you know.
I feel slightly robbed because I did get mine in. We did get ours in like April, May, you know, and we got them in early. I just as well have waited and only managed to got a couple in. But hey, I no. It's just gonna degrade, isn't it? So
It is. That as an aside, and I fully agree with you, Sean. I don't believe that we should, it's always been my opinion with training, with CPD, with education of any kind, that you never lower the bar. You help people through training, education, and support over the bar, but you never lower it. You never bring that bar down. You never bring down that minimum requirement for entry. If people are finding it difficult, assist them, teach them, educate them, help them over that bar.
You can still very easily get your 20 points, your full 20 points from now until December. And that's what we would encourage you to do properly, because we don't only do CPD just so that we can buy poison or rodenticide. We do it because we want to look professional. And if you don't want to look professional and be a professional, then that's up to you. But
it's very difficult now. I feel very, very, very difficult to defend against the people who say CPD is a cash grab, which is the big kick in the pills for me. You know, I feel like, and I know this is across the industry with a lot of people that feel like, hey. Oh, I've got some big news for you from me personally. But yeah, anyway, let's not dwell on that. It's just going to go wrong in it. I took, as some of you may be aware, I've got a little dog, been teaching her to find bed bugs. Took her to our first live job at 5 months old. Now, I'm telling you this because I know for a stone cold certain fact that the people who have bed bug dogs will be absolutely twisting in their graves over this. Too young, blah, 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 and they'll have a right whinge it is. But I wanted to see what happened. I had to find bed bugs. Took her to a job and she found in both rooms and then went like a lunatic and was fucking timples going over and all sorts. So she just got mega excited. But she is actually now finding bed bugs. I don't want to tell you that she's a bed bug dog because there's 6 million things we have to iron out before she gets there. But she is doing it. God bless her. So I'm not going to kick her tonight. I'm going to pat her. Let's see how tomorrow goes for her.
I think that's a good note to end it on.
Yeah. Good note to end it on. Cuddle your dogs. Don't kick them. For anyone that wants to very much delve into the dominion of man over beast, check out last week's podcast where we had a theological and philosophical debate about the agency of man and beast.
Yeah, just quickly before we go, Al, give us your thoughts on last week's podcast.
What, me?
Yeah.
I think I had my thoughts quite succinctly at the time. I'm very much of opinion that pest management is a career, and a career that you can have fun with. It's a career that you enjoy. It's a career that you need to be engaged with in order to take forwards. However, I think the big point where myself and our guest last week diverged is I personally believe that the taking of any animal life should have purpose to it. There is a moral hierarchy of life. We do have a responsibility to the animals, both within our care and within the environment, and either through conservation or through best practice or through just good management and husbandry, we need to make sure that we preserve a balance within the ecology. And from that, purpose is born and we have drive. Where the guest last week we differed was he believed that because we are made in the image of God, that we have a preordained dominion over man and beast, and that with that all bets are off. So yes, that's where I differ from him. I respect and I understand his opinion, but myself, as a we differed. That was it. But we didn't argue. We had a very solid, very sort of like hearty debate over it.
But,
That's
How
it.
about you?
we often fight
No,
with
no,
the
no, no.
Americans. Religion's a lot bigger.
Are we going to run? Are we?
I know. The religion's a lot bigger
You
thing
can't
for
make
them.
me
isn't
do
it?
that
Starting
and then
off-
I can.
No, Hugh. You can't literally make me stand before the mast there, before the
Yeah, I
firing
can.
squad of the internet, and be like, and we're out of time now. Go on. What was you two, both of you? What was your views on our
I'm not. Time's done.
You listen.
Not saying anything.
You listen to it, man. You have an opinion.
Time's done.
I thought it started off very deep, and the religion thing I think gets lost on the British and the UK. It was almost like I went to an all boys Catholic school, and it was too deep for me. But I thought once he got into it and we found that level that we could talk on, I thought it was a very, very interesting conversation to be had. Certainly the second part of it rather than the first part of it. But the first part, like when he started talking about Genesis 16 and all that, I was like, I went to a boys' school and I haven't got a fucking clue what you're talking about. Genesis 16, 37 and all that. Like, hey, that'll do. Stop. Yeah. Interesting.
Definitely worth a reread or re-listen if you have an opportunity, guys. And get your own thoughts. I mean, it was a debate in the truest possible sense of the word, and so I think we managed to cover, a range of thoughts.
It was different.
It was different. Who do we have next week?
We have Owl Sentry next week.
Definitely is not going to be a theological debate with them.
No, it's about digital trapping again. So a different look at that. So join us then.
Absolutely. But
say goodbye, Sean.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, take care.
Bye.
Play auto. Thank you for listening to the Beauties and Beasties podcast.